Excellent. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the November 17th, 2025 meeting of the Riverfront Advisory Committee. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to public comment. Would anyone like to make public comment today? So open and close. Agenda item number 3, review and approval of the minutes from our last meeting on October 20th. Two minor spelling things that I had pointed out to Joe, but no comments on, I guess, overall content, unless anybody else has any.
No, okay, good, thank you.
Have a motion.
I make a motion to approve the meetings with the corrections, spelling corrections.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. So moving on, the primary thing we kind of talked about coming up at last meeting in October was a meeting that was to be held on November 12th with some of the department heads within town. I was also in attendance at that, but general discussion of some of the downtown riverfront concepts and usage of Shanda Park, and potentially determination of who the next steward for Shanda Park should be. So there was some discussion, bringing up the concept that we've talked about a little bit here, that we talked a little bit about at the joint meeting back in January with Conservation Commission, but about logistically moving Shanda Park formally out from being under the stewardship of the Conservation Commission, where it's been for about 20 years now, and transitioning that more formally to the town. So I think I will largely kind of keep the discussion there at present, because obviously how exactly that works, and if Conservation Commission actually wants to make that move, are not yet fully identified and determined. So I think the other update would be, I think Bart and myself are going to go to their next meeting on December 11th.
This is Concom?
Concom's next meeting on December 11th, correct. So it shouldn't completely be catching anyone by surprise, because there has been some, talk about that, obviously, but to kind of formally present, hey, this was discussed, there's a thought that this should happen. What questions do you have, and do we want to logistically, advance this? Because I think we would ultimately need effectively a vote from Conservation Commission that they are in favor of that to pass stewardship formally to the town. But the original stewardship was established via town council resolution, so I believe it only needs a town council resolution to be unestablished as well. Any questions, I guess, on that item?
Did you say it's December 11th or 12th?
December 11th, it's second Thursday, so it should be December 11th. Not exactly knowing, I guess, timeline. I don't know if they will be willing to act on December 11th. So there may need to be, need to present the case and the facts of the matter on December 11th, and then potentially go back again in January if there's a need to support an actual transfer, or answer any final questions they might have when that happens. Does anyone have any, I guess, questions about that, or we can provide an update when it becomes a little bit more formal, I guess?
Was there anything else discussed at that meeting?
Yes. Yeah, just that item.
Just that part, okay.
So moving on from that item, There was some additional discussion about the 11 Creighton Street property that the town had purchased. I think at the time, and Joe, maybe you can weigh in too, but at the time, town council was fairly clear about returning the housing to the housing pool within the town. So that is the approach that's going forward.
That hasn't been brought up to the council yet. I think the results of that.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like that's the way things are going. Boundary line adjustment to return the house parcel, of which the town would effectively keep the land.
So when you say return to the housing, do you mean make the house available for
For resale.
resale? Okay.
Correct.
And that would involve a move off of the property? Or parceling off?
I'm sure that they would parcel off the property
Got it.
and just sell the house portion.
Got it, okay.
Correct.
I don't know what it would look like, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the intent, and obviously, yeah, to be formalized via
So like
actual survey and deed modification and all
So
that.
subdivide, yeah.
Yeah, boundary line
Yeah.
adjustment, basically just absorb some land into the adjacent park parcel and then return the house to be its own parcel that can be sold back.
That seems the best use for the house to me.
It seems best.
Mm-hmm.
It returns the house to being house and, gives the town the land, which contiguously connects the
Mm-hmm.
park to both the Creighton Street pump station and the land behind the wastewater plant. I'll kind of move on from this, and I may look to Lindsay and Bart to comment just if there's been any further follow-up, but something that we had kind of talked about last time that was also talked about at this meeting was potential to develop an RFP on the town side for like a riverfront master plan specifically for these parcels. Kind of as we've talked about, there's, I think, fairly substantial capital investment that is being considered, at these parcels. There's obviously interest from multiple town departments and the public at large. So developing an RFP to hire a consultant to assist the town with focusing that conversation was discussed. Am I stating that right? I felt like that's what I took away from that.
Now, what's the scope? Is this to include everything, the sort of the infrastructure, sewer, and everything in sort of incorporate, all of that is encompassed in the plan?
Yes. So I interpreted the conversation as fully encompassing of like infrastructure, planning, recreation, but the focus would effectively be like the four parcels that comprise Shanda, the adjacent town-owned like wastewater land, and then the area predominantly behind the wastewater plant where like Pinder's Lane is out to New Road. So like for those areas, they wouldn't look at the other portions of the riverfront. It would be like a master plan for the 6 or 7 parcels in that area.
That sounds good.
Did
Yep.
they say they would consider going ahead with that or not?
I took it as yes as of last week.
The idea is to start to put together, director. The idea is to, start to put together that baseline data. So that's part of the plan. And as Sam said, there's so many different interests in the downtown, so it just makes sense to put together a plan. So we got recreation, we got water and sewer, we got DPW, building facilities. So
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
kind of like what I wanted to do last week. It didn't come out all that way.
Yeah. No, I think it's a big plus. I mean, I think we've kind of arrived at that, and then it seemed like the town has also arrived at that, and it's awesome to see that come through.
Would you say, Bart, it's sort of the plan that we developed as a charrette, is that still a lot of those ideas in play, would you say?
for the Shanda Park areas, I mean, there's some elements that, it's just more, I would say more of the Shanda Park elements of the charrette.
Yeah.
So like what we're going to do with that area, that water and sewer, the Moonlight Brook issues, stormwater, water and sewer, or sewer specifically. And then, how do we create, obviously also living shoreline eventually going to be part of that. But again, a lot of different interests and elements that need to be phased appropriately. And that's what this plan will do, or intends to do.
The other primary discussion topic at the time was basically short-term efforts and how this project kind of gets proceeded. So obviously that's one major step is, the town soliciting and contracting someone specifically to help with that process and answer some of those questions. But, independently, something that Lindsay's talked about before and that there should be an article on town warrant in March is for clean water SRF planning funds specifically related to the stormwater, which would allow the H&H study for Moonlight Brook to proceed, as well as actually do some survey and geotechnical work within the park itself. So start laying the groundwork for this to be completed, with likely that same process potentially making it to warrant in 2027 on the wastewater side, specifically looking for the gravity main that moves through the park and then ultimately down to the Creighton pump station. So those are kind of two of the first dominoes in the overall process, but ultimately the town probably does need to answer its infrastructure questions before it talks about aesthetic or recreation questions, just because of how critical specifically that sewer infrastructure is. Like it is, without it, the entire system does not work as designed. So.
It's kind of some of the plans that were at the charrette, that's what as we've talked about before, the hardscape for the park will be, dependent and sort of integrated with those parts of it. So,
Yeah.
That makes like a logical sequence to me.
So those appear to be kind of the first initial steps to kind of set, what has to happen with the infrastructure specifically in and around the park, and then how does that influence other decisions that can be made. So overall, probably talking like a 5-year process from where we sit today to when kind of something, potentially substantial may happen in that area. But the groundwork is there, and the process is becoming more clear as to how that actually gets achieved. And just kind of skimming back through my notes, but effectively that kind of concludes it. Do you think I missed anything important? Go.
One thing, while we wait for this 5-year plan to unfold, it might be a good opportunity for the Riverfront community to engage the community again, as to really understand what they want, as we're getting this baseline data, we're collecting it. So so we're not wasting any time on that front. So so this is probably a good opportunity to pivot towards that, community outreach and engagement to collect that information, and then distill it, and then kind of finalize it and make recommendations, and then that will be incorporated into that plan. So
Yeah, well, that will obviously it won't take place before the town meeting, right? Or but have you figured out the messaging around the what's on the warrant article next year, and people understand that?
I think so we'll find out if it gets on warrant on Wednesday. If it does proceed, then yeah, I think that's a good idea to do a little information messaging campaign. Just say, hey, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're doing it now, and this is how we're saving money doing it, and it gets us to a end goal of improved waterfront.
Yeah.
So.
And did you have any idea when you talk about public information? Is this what kind? Is this? It wouldn't be another charrette.
It wouldn't be another charrette, but there's probably some low key things that we can do. Maybe it's more focus groups. So if we want to target people, we can do that. So there's a lot of different stakeholders down there that use it. So that's something we all can kind of think about, and then we can, just like, for instance, those housing focus groups. We just rented the mill space, so something like that potentially, where it's just a little, we can kind of really do some engagement with participants. So we'll make it what we want. So I can come up with some ideas and present it to the committee, and we kind of chart our own way.
Yeah, I mean, because in a way it would be, maybe this, would this be something that you would announce, that so the whole town is aware that you're holding these sessions?
Yeah,
and
we
not
could.
so much neighborhood by neighborhood.
Correct. Again, it's what we want to make out of it. So if we want the whole town, obviously we announce the whole town, this is what we're doing, stay tuned, we might contact you. We can do like a survey, online survey, broadcast to the whole town. If there's particular stakeholders you want to engage with, then you can directly contact them and have those focus group meetings. So I can't tell you because I haven't helped develop it. So, but again, it's, it can be as robust or granular or broad as we want it to be.
Yeah. I guess what I was thinking is if you had a plan by time of town meeting as to at least, when you wanted to schedule those meetings and what you hope to accomplish, and if there was a way to sort of, I don't know when you could announce that and stuff like that, but it would be nice to me it's pretty exciting what's happening, this whole process of, yes, you can't see any changes at the park, but all of it, it was logical for all of these decisions to be made and all of these grants and studies undertaken, and it would be nice, I don't know if anything like that could go in the newsletter, kind of let people understand this is what's been happening, and we're going to have more public input about what this area can be in the future, building off the charrette and all of that, something of that nature.
Yeah, I think something to be useful is like a timeline. It's like, hey, this is what we've done so far, and this is where we're going. This is what this warrant article will help unlock, if you will, and again, kind of chart a path forward, and then it might be good to, think of some ways, but at time of town meeting, if permissible, have some kind of flyers that people can fill out or engage with, there's specific questions committee wants to ask, or we town staff wants to ask, to further that goal.
Yeah, because I suspect a lot of people, when you see what the warrant article is in January, and people see it and stuff, they may not recognize
For sure.
what this is part of. I mean, there are a lot of other purposes for that as well, but the fact is that this is, if you've seen the warning signs down at Moonlight Brook, this is all part of the process that gets us to a cleaner and better area for Shander and for all kinds of recreational uses.
Yeah. Good point.
I think we also gained a lot of information at the charrette as to how people use the park and what they'd like to see occur. So I think that's a good stepping stone to leap from as well.
For sure. And, that's something, in our outreach we can communicate. This is what we heard so far. We're still seeking opinions. We want to hear from as much as many stakeholders as possible. So, good time to iterate what we've done so far.
Does the e-newsletter, does it have good coverage? I mean, I have no sense of it other than what I have in my own neighborhood, and I send it out and I get a lot of like, what? I didn't know that was out there kind of responses from my neighborhood.
Yeah, I have to check in with Tim, who manages the e-newsletter, see how many people are interacting with it, or at least it's sent to. So that I couldn't answer you right now. Yeah.
It'd be nice. I mean, I think it's a great format. I find it very helpful.
I do too.
I look at it each week. And I think it would be, I don't know if it's the kind of thing that when there are town meetings and stuff, there could be just a piece of paper letting people know they can stay in touch through this, publication that comes out, which has this information in there.
That's a great idea.
I don't think there's any way that if you don't tell somebody about it, a lot of people probably aren't, you know.
That's, yeah,
I
that's
agree,
been my
yeah.
experience.
I agree.
Does the town? I mean, I'm also aware it's been a whopping 3 business days since we met here, but like, does the town have any indication of who you're looking to hire through the RFP? I mean, like, not even like individual, but like, what skill set are you looking for? Is it more of like a planning skill set, or is it more of like a landscape architect skill set?
Are we,
Both?
engineering.
All?
My take would be more of an engineering firm that has specialties in the planning, community engagement, and landscape architecture. Ideally, one of those types of firms that has all of those in one.
Yeah. Okay. I don't disagree. Like,
It's kind of when you consider the infrastructure complexities, I think it needs to be engineering led with support from those other services.
yeah, I think that makes the most sense as well, just because there's pretty serious infrastructure need in there, and then support with the other skills. All right. I guess any final thoughts, comments, coordination items on any of that general download?
What, yeah, oh, yeah, we're going to discuss now the meeting, next meeting date.
Yeah. So, one kind of in concert with that. So, with the Concom meeting on the 11th, and I think the general expectation that I feel like the 11th would be more of a Q&A and a presentation of the problem, which would push their like potential actual vote or action to their January meeting, which again, second Thursday, I think it was January 8th. So just coupled with that action, that I don't think there's a lot of immediate action items we have to necessarily take up, and to see if we can let the Concom thing run its course. I would actually propose, I think it was Monday, January 12th, as make sure that's right. Yeah, Monday, January 12th as our next one, which would be the second Monday and is not MLK Day.
That makes sense to me, and I think it would give you more time, Bart, to maybe some of the things we've talked about, you know, start to work on the timeline and things to come up with sort of what we might be thinking about to move forward on the pieces.
and that'll be a good amount of time to create some, you know, draft educational materials, you know, about, like you said, our project status, you know, kind of origins of how we got to where we are, and where we're looking to go moving forward. So, and then that's something you guys can review and comment on before we finalize. So I think it's a appropriate amount of time to do that.
Good plan.
Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense as well. So one other item I did want to bring out. So the Newmarket Elementary PTA and their outdoor advocacy group reached out to me about, they're trying to do like a unplugged day, get people out in the community and engaging kind of with natural environment and their community. I think that is Saturday, March 7th. I'm pretty sure about that date, but I can correct it later if that is incorrect. But they did reach out about potentially hosting something in Chanda Park. I kind of told them ultimately that's Conservation Commission and it's a public thing, but like, I think general awareness, it didn't seem like there was a concrete plan of what was going on yet. I did suggest also potentially talking to Arts and Tourism and the Historical Society as well. So I'm not sure I really have anything to report other than it's a thing that someone reached out about, and I think may gather some traction. So I'll kind of keep everyone informed, or see what, if anything, we want to play a role with, if there's any volunteer time or anything we want to. But on the tune of what we just talked about, it also might be a good, chance to grab people. Hey, by the way, there's some things we're trying to do. So it might also be a little bit of a captive audience for one specific day down there, where other like-minded people may already be showing up.
Did you say March 7th?
March 7th.
Kind of cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure it was March 7th, because I think that was my initial thought too. Like, May? Oh no, March. Okay. So March 7th. So again, I don't think there's an ask or like a need to solicit input. I think they're mostly just looking for folks in the community who may be willing to kind of help support things, or make a plan for what that day could be, or have a couple things going on down there that people can interface with, other than just, hey, you should go outside on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it'd be nice to have, the timeline, the materials, and and I think it's important for people to understand the narrative of what's happened over the last several years. I think it's a strong plan moving forward to really change it from the foundation up in the whole area in a way that will create, an efficient way to do it.
And honestly, maybe that is an element of how we want to contribute to that, is maybe we can use that as an opportunity to have a board or something. Well, I don't know if it'll blow away, but like something to present to people, or just, hey, there's been a lot going on here. There's kind of starting to be a framework development for, improvements in this area.
Yeah, it gives us a target. We should have those, I know a lot of it's on bar, but a lot of that should be kind of worked out by them. And,
Yeah. It's also the Saturday before town vote.
The display case that's down there, who maintains that? Is that Conservation Commission? I mean, is that an opportunity to put like a timeline as to what's going on, with the park?
It might be. That's something we could potentially ask about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you want to make it longer, you could, go back and try to expand on that QR again, try to attract people's attention, and have a fuller, what the issues are, what needs to be corrected, how this is going to fit in with it, sending people towards the charrette again.
But that could be something, an educational thing that we can have for that, for that March 7th, we can direct people, kids and stuff to that, so.
Okay. So yeah, maybe an opportunity to just kind of get involved and start doing some of that public engagement aspect that we're talking about. They can reach out for us for a little bit of input and programming, and we can achieve a little bit of our own goals with promoting public awareness and getting an opportunity to also kind of talk to people about the article that they'll see the following Tuesday as being kind of a first step in that process too. Okay. So I can keep folks involved as I hear anything more, but I think we can also start planning towards that goal and maybe put that on our January agenda to try to make a little bit more concrete plan for that.
Yeah, and maybe able to usually you have somewhere along here you're putting together the report for the town update, what the Riverfront Committee has been doing.
Good point. That will be soon.
Yeah, and they can weave all those same themes and points in that.
Yeah, actually, thanks for saying that. I always forget about that, and then Wendy has to chase me
Sorry,
down. So
Jordan.
maybe I can actually do it ahead of time for once this year. Probably not, but I'll try.
Okay.
Okay. I think the last concrete agenda item I had was I did ask Bart to just give like a couple minute update on the master plan status, and just where things are at. I don't think any action is really needed from the committee or on chapter development or anything, but
Yeah, so right now, the plan board schedule is reviewing a draft chapter once per month, right before their business meeting. And so we're almost done. We got 3 more chapters, I think, left. So the target date for full adoption is March. By then, everything should be squared away, adopted, online platform and the hard copy. So, yeah, we're still on track. So, nothing to report, really, at this point.
awesome. I did want to ask, do you have an Excel copy of that implementation table?
I do, I can send it to
Okay,
you.
that would be awesome. I think I've only seen it in PDF format.
Yeah, I'll send it.
That would be great. Okay. Jeez, only 30 minutes though. So I didn't really have anything else formal. I think my primary takeaways from that meeting last week was the town's thinking, I think, the same way we are, which is excellent. But it's gonna take a little bit, and we got a little bit of work to do here. So I think potentially, yeah, breaking to January to allow that conversation with the Conservation Commission to play out and develop is worthwhile, and then understand a little bit more about that next wave of outreach and how we want to approach that. Probably becomes the next step. See how the town wants us to work to help support the things they're doing as well. Anything else anyone wants to talk about?
I got a couple of things about it. So the coastal resilience, are you
Yes.
working on what the
Yes.
rules or the?
Yep. Me and Lindsay are working on that right now, so we're still in draft. So that should be probably December. We should have that done. December, early January. That should all be all set at that point.
Okay, so just because you and Lindsay are going to come up with kind of like, here's the criteria or whatever type of things, so we would take a look at that. And we have an opportunity to.
Sure. I mean, I
Maybe
can bring
update
it to the January meeting.
Okay.
That might be a great opportunity just as a check, make sure we're on the. Yeah, definitely.
And I gather there's been no discussions with Rivermore at this point in time, that you're waiting for the this RFP. They may discuss that then.
I'm just waiting. Which RFP you're discussing?
The infrastructure RFP.
Oh, that
Will they take that into account, or I assume?
I don't know. I think last time I spoke to Rivermore, they came. A couple of representatives came in. They're saying they're going through some changes, evaluations, and then once they're ready, they would reach out if they want to talk. So
There's nothing.
Not yet.
Nothing.
not yet. So just waiting on them to be invited. So
I think
that's how I remember it. So yeah.
I think the RFP conversation was predominantly starting at the park and looking
Yeah, it's not
Looking
going
south.
north. It's going south.
South.
just
Yeah.
because now with the 11 Creighton Street purchase, that contiguous pathway now
So-
does exist.
And, it's,
So
and,
one-
it's, and it's town property too. So
Okay.
so yeah. So if you think about it, you get the master plan. It kind of incorporates all of town. And then we got this like little focus, smaller scope plan, which is town properties. What can we do right now with town properties?
That's two things I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Something I had said last time that I didn't remember until 3:30 today was talking to see if Mass had a analog to the coastal resilience zone. Do you guys still want? I can still reach out and try to find that and see if anyone else has done this or applied it and what they've applied it for, or if you guys feel like you have a good handle on it, and just
In
bury that one.
Massachusetts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
knowing that just in New Hampshire, there's probably only 10 communities that could implement this. So, like, if Mass had a similar program, there's a lot more potential folks that might have actually done something.
Yeah, I know they do. It's different, but intent's the same. But yeah, happy to collaborate with you on that.
Yeah, just if it's helpful, if you feel like you already have a plan of attack, then don't need to get involved. But if you still
it'd
are
be good
looking for more
because-
info,
Well, that's the thing. We're the first community to officially adopt it, so
Yeah.
we're the guinea pigs.
we are first.
So yeah, probably looking at neighboring states just to see projects, qualifying projects,
Yeah.
what actually has been done.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
that'd be useful. How did other people interpret this or similar this, and what did they use it for?
Yep.
Okay. I'll
No,
still
yeah,
try to do
I
that.
can reach out to, I know some folks down there. Yeah, happy to work with you soon.
Yeah, Maine would definitely have some. Okay. Any final thoughts from anyone?
No.
Or we'll
Good.
come back in January with what looks like a pretty full agenda. So.
Yeah. Very good.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, seriously. So I will ask Wendy to cancel our December 8th meeting. And then we'll just keep the 12th, which should be our regular scheduled one anyway. So if nothing else, we can kind of keep in touch, and we'll have our next meeting on January 12th, 2026. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and if you have any, example documents, if you wanna share them with us, I'd like, I'd be interested. If you have it, be interested with.
Yeah.
Just so I understand, in respect to like what other communities have done.
Well, you were talking about the timelines on.
Oh yeah, no, that was my whole intent, is to have you guys help develop it. So we do the first draft, and then it's finalized through this committee, as we move forward town. So yes, absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Yeah.
All right. We'll give Ingrid the first and give Dale the second.